Right now, somewhere in your house, one of these might be sitting untouched, pushed into a corner of the guest room, folded under a stack of quilts in the attic, or holding up a plant you bought at a grocery store 2 years ago. Old furniture has a reputation for being heavy, outdated, and hard to move. But some of it is quietly worth serious money, and the people who own the most valuable pieces often have absolutely no idea. We are going to go through 10 specific types of old furniture, from the least valuable to the most, and for each one, I am going to tell you exactly what to look for, what it is worth, and how you can check yours tonight without needing any special equipment. Stay with me through number 1. It is the piece almost every household in this country has had at some point, and almost nobody prices it correctly. Number 10 on our list is the pressed back oak chair. You know, the one's high wooden back with a carved or stamped sunburst, fan, or floral design pressed into the top rail, 4-turned legs, sometimes a rush or wooden seat. These were mass-produced in enormous quantities between about 1880 and 1920, and because of that, most people assume they are worthless. In most cases, they are not going to make you rich. A single chair in average condition with a common press pattern, no maker's mark, and a refinished surface is worth somewhere around $30 to $60. But here is where it gets interesting. A matched set of 6 or more, in original unstripped finish, from a named maker like Haywood Wakefield or the Larkin Company, can go for $600 to over $1,000 for the set. The key word is original finish. Go look at the underside of the seat and the back of the rear legs right now. If the wood is raw, golden, and has a slight build of old varnish in the crevices of the press design, that is original. If it looks pale, flat, and smells faintly of chemical stripper, someone refinished it, and a significant portion of the value went with the finish. Your grandmother likely had 4 to 6 of these around a kitchen or dining table. If they have been sitting in a basement untouched for 50 years, you may have something worth having assessed as a set rather than selling them one at a time. If you thought that one was surprising, the next one catches people off guard in a completely different way. Number 9 is the quarter-sawn oak bookcase, specifically the kind with glass pane doors, adjustable shelves, and a stacked modular design. These are often called lawyers' bookcases or sectional bookcases, and the most collectible ones were made by the Globe Wernicke Company, Macy, or Lundstrom between about 1890 and 1930. A complete stacked unit, all matching sections, original wavy glass intact, with a maker's label or stamp on the back of a section, can be worth anywhere from $400 to well over $1,200, depending on the number of sections and the condition of the glass. The quarter-sawn oak itself is the first thing to look for. Turn a flashlight at an angle across the flat surface of the side panels. Quarter-sawn oak has a distinctive ray fleck pattern, silvery, almost feathery streaks running through the grain. Flat-sawn oak does not have this. If your bookcase has it, that immediately tells you it was made with higher-grade material. Then check the glass in the doors. Original wavy glass has a subtle ripple and distortion when you look through it at a straight line across the room. Reproduction glass is flat and clear. Both marks together, the ray fleck oak and the wavy glass, put you in a much stronger position. Many of these lived in home offices or parlors for generations and ended up being used as display cabinets in kitchens or dining rooms without anyone realizing what they actually were. Number 8. Ever wonder why some pieces of old furniture look almost identical, but one is worth 10 times more? The answer is often in the hardware, and nowhere is that more true than with the Victorian-era marble top dresser. The marble top alone is not what makes these valuable. It is the combination of the marble with intact original hardware and an unaltered case. Dressers with original teardrop or bail, pulls in brass or cast iron, original beveled mirror, and a marble top in a solid color, white, gray, or a pale green-gray, often called Tennessee gray, can go for $300 to over $800. Black-veined marble tops were often replacements, so a solid color top is actually a better sign of originality. Here is your physical check. Hold a small magnet to the drawer pulls. Original brass hardware is not magnetic. If the magnet sticks, the pulls have been replaced with steel reproductions, and that affects the value meaningfully. Also, open every drawer and look at the construction. Hand-cut dovetails on the drawer corners are irregular, with slightly uneven spacing, while machine-cut dovetails are perfectly uniform. Hand-cut puts you in the 1880s to 1890s range. These pieces came through households in enormous numbers, and many ended up in bedrooms that became guest rooms that nobody bothered to clear out. Number 7. The next one is a piece that shows up at estate sales constantly, almost always underpriced. The bentwood rocker, specifically one made by Thonat or under the Thonat license process. Michael Thonat developed the technique of steam bending solid beechwood into curves in the mid-1800s, and the rocking chairs his company produced became one of the most exported pieces of furniture in history. A genuine early Thonat rocker marked with a paper label inside the seat frame or a brand stamp on the underside of a stretcher can be worth $400 to over $1,000. The problem is that bentwood rockers were widely copied, and many unmarked examples exist. The check here is one of my favorites because it involves counting. Flip the chair and look at the cane seat if it has one. Count the holes around the perimeter of the seat frame. On genuine Thonat production pieces, the hole spacing follows a consistent pattern, and the cane is woven in a traditional 6-way pattern, 6 distinct directions of cane strand crossing the same center point. Reproductions often use pressed cane sheets or a simplified 4-way weave. Then look for the label or stamp on the underside of any stretcher. If you find a Thonat mark and 6-way hand caning, have it looked at by a professional before you sell it or move it. That combination matters. A lot of these came to the United States through German and Austrian immigrant families and have been passed down ever since as just an old rocking chair. The next one is a piece I genuinely love talking about because the value gap between the common version and the right version is so dramatic. Number 6 is the pedestal dining table, the kind with a central column and claw feet, often called a claw foot table or an empire-style pedestal table. The low-value version is a late reproduction from the 1960s or 70s, with a single veneer top and a simple turned pedestal, worth maybe $100. The high-value version is an original 1880s to 1910s piece with a solid quarter sawn or tiger oak top, a multi-part pedestal base with carved details, and this is the important part, original extension leaves stored inside the table. When all leaves are present, a documented set, these tables can go for $700 to over $1,500. Your check tonight is the underside of the tabletop. Run your hand across it. A solid wood top will feel consistently dense, and the grain on the edge will match the grain visible on top. It goes all the way through. A veneered top will show a thin line at the edge where a different wood layer was applied. Also look inside the leg mechanism if it is extendable. Original hardware will show genuine age, dark metal, hand-filed edges, small irregularities. If it looks shiny and uniform, it has been replaced. Families often kept these tables in dining rooms for 50 or 60 years and then stored them when they went out of fashion, leaves and all. If you have been enjoying this and want to see more like it, now would be a great time to hit like. It helps more than you might think, and it tells me exactly what to make more of. Number 5. This one surprises people every time. The Windsor chair, and specifically the bow-back Windsor with a saddle seat, is one of the most underestimated pieces in American furniture history. Windsor chairs were made in the American colonies and early Republic period from about 1750 through the 1830s. And a genuine period example in original paint can be worth anywhere from $300 for a plain example to several thousand for a signed piece by a named chairmaker like Ebenezer Tracy of Connecticut. Now, I am not going to inflate this one. The vast majority of Windsor chairs people have at home are 19th century or later reproductions, and most of those are worth $50 to $200. But here is the detail that separates the genuinely old ones. The legs on a period Windsor were always raked, set at an angle outward, front and back, and they were tenon directly into a solid carved saddle seat, not attached with a plate or bracket. Turn one over. Look at where the legs enter the seat. You should see the leg end going directly into a tapered hole in the solid wood, with no metal plate, no screws through a bracket, nothing between the wood and the wood. Then look at the underside of the seat itself. It should be visibly carved and scooped, with tool marks still faintly visible if it has not been sanded heavily. Original old paint, usually black, green, or red, sitting in the grooves of the spindles, is another strong signal. These were workhorses of colonial households, and entire sets of them came through estate sales in the Northeast for generations. Number 4. The piece that follows is one where the identifying detail is almost invisible until you know what you are looking for. The blanket chest or six-board chest, a simple flat-lidded storage box traditionally made of pine, poplar, or chestnut, is one of the oldest surviving forms of American furniture, and original pre-Civil War examples with painted decoration can command prices from $600 to several $1,000s. The painted ones are the story here. New England, Pennsylvania, German, and Appalachian craftsmen produced painted blanket chests from the late 1700s through the mid-1800s, often with stylized tulips, birds, compass stars, or abstract flowing designs in red, blue, green, and ochre. A documented Pennsylvania German dower chest with original painted decoration, intact hardware, and a readable date or initials can be worth well over $2,000. Your check. Open the lid and look at the underside of the lid boards and the inside of the front panel. If the painted decoration goes all the way to edges that would have been covered during construction, that is a sign of original paint applied before or during assembly. Reproduction paint stops short or looks too even. Also smell the inside with the lid closed for 30 seconds. Genuinely old pine or poplar chests retain a faint, dry, woody smell that is almost dusty and slightly sweet. Reproduction chests smell like new wood, or worse, like plywood adhesive. These chests lived at the foot of beds for generations, holding quilts and linens, and were often handed from mother to daughter. Number 3. Here is a pivot that might surprise you. We are moving from painted folk pieces to something that looks entirely plain and functional. The Shaker-made piece. Shaker furniture was made in Shaker communities across New England and the Midwest, primarily between about 1800 and 1910, and its entire value comes from its deliberate simplicity. No ornament, no curves that are not structurally necessary, no decoration. A genuine Shaker side table, step stool, or small cabinet can be worth anywhere from $800 to over $5,000, depending on the community it came from and whether provenance can be documented. The identifying features are almost paradoxical. You are looking for the absence of decoration combined with extremely fine craftsmanship. Perfectly fitted drawers that slide without sticking. Peg rail slots that are precisely spaced. Turned knobs that are uniform and small. The wood species used most often by Shaker craftsmen were cherry, maple, butternut, and tiger maple, and they typically used water-based or milk-based paint in the distinctive Shaker palette. A deep Prussian blue, a brick red, or a clear yellow. If you have a simple, almost severe-looking piece of furniture with small-turned cherry or maple knobs and no unnecessary detail, and it has been in your family through New England or Ohio relatives, it is worth bringing to a specialist. At this level, with a piece like this, it is genuinely worth having someone look at it in person before you do anything. The provenance question can make a difference of thousands of dollars. Number 2 is a piece that most people walk right past at estate sales because it looks damaged or incomplete. The highboy, specifically the American Queen Anne or Chippendale highboy in walnut or maple, is one of the most significant forms of American furniture made between about 1710 and 1780, and a genuine period example in good condition can be worth anywhere from $3,000 to well over $20,000 at auction. The highboy is a tall chest of drawers in 2 sections. A lower case on cabriole legs with pad or ball, and claw feet topped by a taller upper case, usually with a bonnet or flat top. The things that make one genuinely valuable versus a later reproduction are specific. Hand-cut dovetails throughout with irregular spacing, secondary woods on the interior, drawer sides in tulip poplar or white pine rather than the primary walnut or maple, and cabriole legs, with a knee that flows continuously into the leg without a visible seam or joint. The check here is one of the most satisfying physical tests you can do. Pull out a drawer completely and look at the inside front corner where the drawer front meets the side. Run your fingernail over the joint. On a hand-cut dovetail, each pin and tail is slightly different from the others, same general shape, but no two identical. On a machine-cut or router-cut joint, every single pin and tail is exactly uniform. That one detail, fingers on wood, tells you more than almost any photograph can. These pieces traveled through families across New England and the Mid-Atlantic for 200 and 300 years. If yours came from a house that has been in the same family since before the Civil War, do not move it, do not refinish it, and do not sell it before having it professionally evaluated. And that brings us to number 1, and this is the one I told you to stay for. The piece that almost every household in this country has owned at some point, often in multiples, often passed down without a second thought, and almost always undervalued. The simple wooden rocking chair, not the bent-wood thonet from earlier, but the American slatback or ladderback rocker, made from the late 1700s through the early 1900s, specifically, the Shaker production rocker made at the Mount Lebanon community in New York. The Mount Lebanon Shakers produced rocking chairs commercially from approximately 1860 through the early 1900s and sold them by mail order across the country. They are not rare in the sense that few were made, tens of thousands were, but genuine examples in original condition, with the original woven tape seat and back in the traditional shaker pattern, and crucially, with the original paper label still attached to the inside of one of the rear posts, can be worth anywhere from $1,500 to over $4,000. The label reads, Shaker's trademark Mount Lebanon NW.Y, and sometimes includes a size number. The sizes ran from 0, the smallest, to 7, the largest. The check is the label first look on the inside face of the rear post near the seat level. Then look at the tape weaving. Original Shaker tape is a flat woven cotton or wool in a simple two-color checkerboard or herringbone. Not a braided cord, not a twisted rush, not a replacement vinyl. If the tape looks modern but the chair frame looks old, it may have been reseated, which reduces the value but does not eliminate it entirely. These chairs were ordered from catalogs, given as gifts, used in farmhouses and parlors, and handed down as just grandmother's old rocker. Yours might be worth more than a couch you paid full price for last year. So there you have it, 10 pieces of old furniture. From the pressed-back oak chair you might have 6 of in a storage room, all the way up to the Mount Lebanon Shaker rocker that might be sitting in your guest room right now looking perfectly ordinary. The single most important thing I want you to take away is this. Do not refinish, do not repaint, and do not replace the hardware on anything old before you know what you have. Condition in the original sense, worn, marked, and untouched, is almost always worth more than condition in the cleaned up, refreshed sense. If this opened your eyes to something you have at home, subscribe to the channel so you do not miss the next one, and I want to hear from you in the comments. Do you have any of these pieces? Tell me which one, whose it was, and whether you still have it. Those are the stories I love reading most. Take a closer look at what you already own. You might be sitting on more than you think.